Today we are going to be putting a final finish on this watch. If you haven't seen the rest of the series, go back and watch those videos. I machined this watch case. In the last video, I had just finished machining and I had not put on any of the furniture, none of the watch bands, spring bars, buttons, the movement wasn't in there, there wasn't a crystal on it, none of that. Most of that was covered on our Instagram, @DesignTheEverything. It's worth checking out. Today we're going to strip this back down and put a final finish on the aluminum, maybe anodize it, and do something with this watch crystal here so that it's not as ugly and the glue isn't exposed. So I'm going to start by taking the band off. This is called a NATO style band, which means it's got a strap that goes underneath the main watch body there. And that is, well, is my understanding, this comes from a military style design, and you want that leather there against your skin so that if you're ever in a fire or something, the metal doesn't heat up and burn your skin. So that's the theory. But with the way this is designed, we can change the band without actually taking out the spring bars. So those just pop out, and there's the actual watch case. Now, I'm going to be doing all this work here in my little porta vise, which is just a cheap Harbor Freight vise bolted onto a piece of butcher block. Unfortunately, I do not have the screwdrivers right now to open this up. I have my precision screwdriver set at work, and unfortunately, I ordered a new one that had this size of screw, but it has not gotten here yet. But we can do everything without opening it up. I will go ahead and take out the buttons though. The buttons still don't quite fit right, and the holes aren't deep enough for them, and they don't work. So still no buttons yet on this, unfortunately. We may need to do a test fixture just to figure out the right hole size and depth on buttons instead of having to do a whole watch every time. All right, so step one, I want to sand this edge here. So I've got some leather scraps. Let's make ourselves a little pair of soft jaws, or whatever you want to call them. There's a softer piece of leather. Stick this in here. Open up my handle. I will be very gentle with clamping pressure. We're not machining this, it doesn't need a lot of force. Alright, I am starting with 240 grit and then going to go just to 320 grit. I think a lot of people make the mistake of starting with too low of a grit, which leaves them more scratches that they have to get out with the higher grit. So I like to start with a little bit of a higher grit if I'm starting with a good service. Obviously, if you need the lower grits, use the lower grits. And I'm going to find a file that I like here. Maybe that one. And I'm going to put my sandpaper around this file. It's either going to be a really long video or a really short video, depending on how motivated I am when I'm editing. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of footage, but it's easier to make a long video than a short video. Which, you may notice a lot of my videos are longer. So one of my big inspirations behind this project is the guys over at the Nicholas Hacko Watches. I follow them on Instagram. I'm not sure I've ever actually even interacted with them before, but I can see in my analytics that they watch my story sometimes. I had this idea before I started watching the Nicholas Hacko guys on Instagram and their YouTube series. Their YouTube series is excellent. They have basically a podcast style YouTube channel where they just kind of sit down and they talk about watchmaking, and they'll choose a specific topic and they'll talk about it for a little while. And I started this project right before I started watching those videos. And then I watched their videos and went, holy cow, I know absolutely nothing. The craftsmanship and care and time and effort that goes into a real watchmaker watch is incredible. And I have a huge respect for that. That'll never be me. That's not what I do. I'm not going to be them. I will never make my own movement, even though it sounds like so much fun. But it also would take me like 45 years. Even if I had their equipment, it would take me forever. But I can make these Casio watch cases. I can make them well, and I can do them for a fair and reasonable price. But watching them has just given me such a respect for the art that I've been wanting to practice the hand finishing and put the same love and care and attention to detail into whatever I'm making. Which, by the way, is a terrible business decision. Never do that. Find something that you can do quickly and easily. Because this takes a long time. I kind of doubt this is going to be how I finish all of my watches. For that very reason. This is a piece of ipe, which is just a hardwood, a very hard wood. It gets used in like the deck of boats with a piece of leather on it. I use this for polishing my tops while they're on the lathe. It helps me polish them and keep my hands away. But I found it's very good because it has the leather on the wood. So I can just wrap a piece of sandpaper around it. And it gives it a little bit of give while keeping it still fairly rigid and not rounding over corners. And easier to control. And I think this is the way to go. I probably should have started with a finer grit. I went on that whole tangent about how everybody starts with too low of a grit of sandpaper, and then I promptly did the same thing. In the future, I'd love to have a machined surface finish on these. Because then I wouldn't have to do it myself and we could still have something fairly epic. If you look at like John Grimsmo, he does those surface patterns on his knife scales. Like the honeycomb and the what else does he does? He has that sunburst pattern, which is probably my favorite. He did the rock pattern for the Pandemic Norseman. Something like that on the sides here, which I can do because I have a 5-axis machine, would be awesome. Or if we're talking John Grimsmo, it would be epic. That's what he says. All right, this side's coming along easier. You know, this vise on a plate is a little bit janky. I actually have a better vise mounted in there, and one of those jeweler stick thingies that comes off the table. I didn't have enough room to set up my recording stuff. Look, I have a microphone and coffee, and there's that camera. But vise on a cutting board actually is pretty good. Okay. Call that good enough for now. Let's do the top. So this time I'm going to grain it up and down instead of left and right, because I want my I want all the grain going from the top to the bottom of the watch. I may start by going left and right to get some of the tool marks out, but then I'll switch directions. Ooh, at the very least it's easier to reach. Though my sanding stick is too big. We'll go back to the file. go to the tail of the file here where it's a sharper radius. Oh, I said I was going to go this way. No, we're good. We're good. I think I got most of the big tool marks out. Now we can just seesaw it. I can get right in that corner. Maybe I still want a sharper file. You know, because the main use of files is to hold sandpaper, right? That's what they're intended to do. There's probably somebody yelling at me right now for that. You're probably right, but I don't like files. Like, I watch ClickSpring, so I would like to like files. I don't know if it's just because I have cheap files or what, but they do not work for me as well as they work for ClickSpring. Well, I have two kinds of files. I have cheap files and I have old files. And so I fully accept that part of my problem is in there somewhere. And I know I just need to buy nice files. I know they exist. If y'all want to buy like 1,000 watches so that I can buy nice files, then I'll buy nice files. Yep, I'm regretting not starting with a finer sandpaper. You know, for next time. So, speaking of inspirations behind that, this video series, you may notice that this is actually not, like, I'm not new to YouTube. Well, I mean, I've never been big or anything. It's not like I've been a huge success in the past, but I have had this YouTube channel for, I think, 3 or 4 years, and it wasn't like this. It was Fusion 360 videos, which were fine. But that was back when I was more interested in YouTube as YouTube and not just YouTube as me hanging out in the shop with my friends as I work. I don't really care about YouTube anymore. I don't need views or anything. And you may be able to tell that by the production quality of my videos. So for the 50 of you that are watching, hi Glenn. He's been a long-time supporter and has commented, I think, on every one of my videos. I appreciate him. That's giving me better results. But the inspiration behind these videos is John Grimsmo at Grimsmo Knives, him and his brother Eric Grimsmo. And they started their Knife Making Tuesday series a long time ago. I think it's like 7 years old now. And it wasn't a very highly produced series. In fact, well, I mean, look at my videos. My videos may, I guess, depending on where you look in the Knife Making Tuesday series, some of my videos are higher quality, some of my videos are lower quality. I have two cameras. I have a webcam and my main camera there, which I guess gives me a leg up on them. But I also have 7 years of watching their videos to learn from, whereas they didn't have that opportunity. So these videos are basically my version of Knife Making Tuesday. We can call it Watchmaking Wednesday, except Wednesday is any day I feel like. Yeah, it worked. And basically I just want to show off the work that goes into what I'm making here. A lot of the other products, like the tops, I mean, they take work. They're a lot of fun, but it's mostly all on the CNC, and so you can capture it in a short Instagram video. But I wanted to do these longer form videos to give you an idea of the work that goes into these watches, so that if somebody buys one from me, they can appreciate that I spend a long time on them. Maybe not that I know what I'm doing, I'm not there yet, but give me 7 more years of videos and I'll have a Kern and a big shop with a vise that's not mounted to a cutting board. Or I won't, and I'll still be down here with a vise and a cutting board and having fun. Don't know. But watching those videos gave me a lot of inspiration for turning making into a business and focusing on machining. before watching those videos, the John Grimsmo Knife Making Tuesday videos, I was more focused on like the woodworking kind of making, and less on the business aspect, and definitely not on machining. And the Knife Making Tuesday videos were really a inspiration to get more into this style of stuff. I've probably watched through the Knife Making Tuesday stuff at least twice now. I think I'm on my third run through. I put it on at work, and when I can't be machining. I am a engineer at a small company. We make well, we're kind of a sheet metal shop. We do some job shop work. I would say we're primarily a manufacturer, but we also have our own product line of POS equipment. That's the stuff at the checkout counter of like a grocery store or gas station or whatever that holds the stuff that like reads the credit card that holds the stuff that reads your credit card, or holds the monitors that the cashiers use, or brackets they put their little scanners in, that kind of thing. If you've ever been to a Walmart or a Kroger or a Meijer, you've used a product that our company has made. If you've been to a Whole Foods, Giant Eagle, a couple other stores, then you've used a product that I have personally designed. I'm the only engineer there right now. I think I'm the third engineer the company's had. So a lot of this stuff, I haven't been there all that long, so most of the existing stuff we have out in the field isn't mine. Sonic, that's another one. But more of my stuff is coming out. All right, that's all the sides. And those were the easy part. So now I'm going to work on there's a name for these. I'm sorry, watchmakers out there. I know I don't know the words, but these nubbins, those nubbins need sanded. Oh boy, do they ever. But I'm very much copying the style of the John Grimsmo videos with my videos. They're not going to be highly produced. Even his new videos, even though he's got great editing and great camera work, I mean, he's not... his videos aren't as polished as other makers might do. You know, I'm not going to try to be this old Tony, because that would just look like a amateur trying to be like this old Tony. But I feel like I can pull off the John Grimsmo style videos easily, and hopefully providing value and entertainment. Maybe not this video, but other videos, and some knowledge and whatever. Again, I've had the benefit of learning from other people. I would like to give others that same benefit. I've also been making things for a little while now. Not that I'm an expert, especially on machining, but I slept in a Holiday Inn Express, so hey. So what other watches would you guys like to see watch cases for? I think this project may snowball, and I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if I've made that clear, but I have no idea of how well received these are going to be. I really like the Casio F91W for a couple reasons. One of the big reasons is that it's cheap and indestructible, and it's also small and light. I'm gonna probably ruin at least a couple of those things by making a new case for it, but I want to hold somewhat true to the original idea of the F91W. I want to keep it budget-ish, I don't know what, I don't have a price point yet because I don't know how long or how much finishing I'm going to have to do in all of these. But I'm not going to be up there with the custom watchmakers. But I'm also not going to be down there with what Casio sells these for. So, I don't know, maybe I'm backing myself into a corner by making a premium discount product. But again, if nothing else, I'm making this for me, and if somebody else wants to buy them, they can buy my watch. If they don't want to, then I didn't really set out for this to be a product. There's some things I can do to keep costs down on the final product if and when I do sell these. I could do a sandblasted or bead blasted finish or a tumbled finish, and that would save all of this hand finishing. Or I could do a machined finish, maybe, I don't know, stippling or engraving or something. I don't know how I'd make that work, but it's possible. But to be true to the Casio F91W, this does need to be cheaper. And that kind of brings up what's down the road. Let's say these take off. Let's say we do a Kickstarter, we sell a whole bunch of them. I can go full time into not watchmaking, whatever you call this, custom watch case making. I try to be careful and not call myself a watchmaker, because I'm not really making a watch. I'm just making a case for an existing movement. It's not even like I'm going to be making dials and hands for at least a little while. Maybe that'll be down the road. So I'll call myself a watch case maker for now. But, you know, what's next after this? So I really want to do and forgive me if I don't know how to pronounce this, a Seiko or Seiko? Psycho sounds fun. A Seiko watch. They have I believe it's the SKX line of watches. I think they go for around $300, but you can get the movement from them for, I think it's about $50, which granted is 5 times the cost of the entire Casio F91W, but it's also a much nicer watch. It's a dial watch, not a digital watch, and a little bit more of a classic design. Ooh, I bet if you buy the movement, it doesn't come with the dial, so I'd have to buy or make something. That project just got a little more difficult, but that would be cool. And the Seiko sounds right. The Seiko watches have a good following behind them. They're very reliable, they're high quality, and they're reasonably affordable, which is basically everything I'm looking for here. So doing one of those watches would be a lot of fun. And that one, maybe do a titanium case. I have some titanium that I have set aside to practice machining on. So it's for that project, basically. The other option, and this is closer to the same vein as the F91W, actually 2 options, is there's the Casio G-Shock watches, and those are a more expensive digital watch that a lot of people swear by. I had one for a while. They're indestructible. They do a lot more than the 91Ws. They're kind of more tactical, at least some of them are. And I can make a case if I'm doing another digital watch for those. Then there's another Casio watch. It's a Casio MRW200. The Casio MRW200 watches, I have a feeling they're kind of made to look like the Seiko watches, or at least they're the same style. I guess watches have been around for so long and there's only so many styles, but with those Casio watches, which I've already forgot the number, the MRW200s, that's another one that I could do for fairly cheap, stay true to the original watch. I believe those have a pretty good following. It's like the F91W of the analog world. And that would be pretty sweet. I'm going to do this last bit out of the vise. Put that there. Get the backside. Like I said, I can't take off this backing because I don't have the screwdrivers. They'll be here today. But doing a watch case for those Casios would be good. And it would probably be a good stepping stone to the Seiko watches. Because it's an analog watch and they probably have a similar size movement and all that stuff. So whatever you want to see next, tell me in the comments. I really haven't gotten much feedback from the community on this because I haven't been doing this very long. I'm new to the community. I don't know what people want. And again, I'm not even sure if I want to do what you guys want. I kind of want to do what I want. And maybe you guys will like it. I wonder if using a file would be easier. That's what ClickSpring does. And ClickSpring makes clocks, so he's probably smart. Now, I'm going to go straight to the 320 on those. Time to go up a grit. All right, I'm just going to put my headphones on and time-lapse the rest of this. Not much new is happening anyway, and well, I can talk a lot, but you guys only want to listen to so much. All right, I'm happy with the finish on here. I want to do the inside of this face though, and I can't do that without taking out the module, the movement. Otherwise, I risk ruining it. So I'm going to wait until my screwdrivers come in and do it then. Also, I decided instead of doing a anodizing on here, I'm going to do a aluminum black, similar to like what we do on our arch tops, except on aluminum and not brass. And I think that'll be cool. On future prototypes, I hope to anodize. So I didn't get as much footage as I would have liked getting to this point here, but this is where I am at after finishing. You can see that it's black. Ooh, there we go. That's never going to focus on it, but I did not anodize this. I used a aluminum blackening solution. The brand is Birchwood Casey's. It's a pretty common thing. I think it gets used on guns a lot to touch up, where anodizing has been bumped off. It did not go exactly as planned. I expected the aluminum black to work exactly like the brass black that I use on the arch tops, which goes on really well and leaves a very nice finish. But it did not. It left a very textured, bumpy, and kind of uneven finish. It still looks cool in its own way, but more cool in the I died in a fire way and less cool in the this is a nice looking watch kind of way. But this is a prototype. I really wish I hadn't spent as much time sanding this now, because I ruined it. But it's, I don't know, I learned. I'm definitely anodizing the next couple, or from now on, I'll anodize all of them. I may also do a sandblasted finish like we do on the arch tops instead of the hand finish that I did. So it'll look kind of iPhone-y, kind of Apple-y. And then maybe we'll add some more texture or whatever on top of there to give it a little more character. Or maybe I'll get to the point where the machined finish is good enough, or I do some sort of texture with the machined finish. That would be cool. Anyway, small failures aside, I'm going to move to making the watch crystal, or whatever you want to call it, on a digital watch. I'm going to be laser cutting it, except this time I'm going to be doing some engraving on the laser to hide the ugly glue spots that would show through the clear crystal. Thank you for watching this far in the series. This is only episode 3. Expect 100 more episodes until I get this right and learn the skills that I need to be able to do this. I know there's not a whole lot of you watching right now, and that's fine with me. I don't need views for my ego. But if you do find this valuable and you think somebody else may find it valuable, please go ahead and share it with them. I would like to expand our audience as much as possible, mostly for selfish reasons, because I do plan on selling watches at some point. But also I hope that these videos can turn into something that is actually helpful. So any assistance in doing that would be great. This is probably a really long video at this point, and I appreciate you guys. I will see you next week.